Hello friends, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. This is Jenny from Polly's Paper Studio. Today we are going to revisit and remake a design from a previous tutorial. So we're going to recreate this book base, but we're going to change it up a little bit by adding some different elements and by using a different collection. So this is going to be a great refresher on a classic design book base that you can alter however you like. Before I get started though, I did want to say how much I appreciate all the kind comments on my rather chatty intro from our previous tutorial. I am so thankful and I feel so blessed that I have great friends and our little community is really there for each other and support and kindness, and I really loved reading each and every one, and all of you are so special to me. I also enjoyed hearing what you guys are doing to keep yourselves busy and improve your mental health during this trying time. So many of you guys are also crafting or making masks or going for walks. Someone had also been on vacation and had their plans changed. So it is nice to know we are not alone and that we can reach out to each other and use each other for support. So thank you to everyone who was so kind in my previous tutorial video. Okay, let's get started. I've got the base for the book here, and when I was planning this project, I had thought I would link in the description the original video where I showed how to assemble this book, but it is so easy, you guys, and I'll just show you again. And if you are interested in checking out the previous project made with this book base, I will link that, and you can see how this design looks with a different collection. So I did Christmas. You could easily do any holiday, birthday. You could use this for anything. And the beauty is it has only 3 main parts that create the base. And because I am using 110-pound cardstock, it's going to be very sturdy, especially when you consider that you're going to be layering on all of those other paper patterns. So the first one is 10 inches wide and then 4.5. So our pages are all going to be 4.5 by 4.5, and the difference in the measurements in length is going to give you a different spacing on the spine. So you're going to create space to accommodate bulk, and then every flip will get a little bit less so that when you build up the book, it will hold a nice square shape. So the first one, 4.5 by 10, and it has a 1-inch spine. The second one is 4.5 by 9 3/4. The pages are all still going to be 4.5, but now you're going to get a 3/4 inch spine. And I've used my scoring tool to make sure that these are nice and square. And especially for 110-pound cardstock, you do want to run your scoring tool on the groove and then tip it out and reinforce that seam or that fold with your bone folder so that you get a nice crisp edge. For the third piece, it is 9.5 by 4.5. So your spine on this one is only going to be 1/2 inch, and this is going to be the center portion. So let's start assembling this. And I had originally clipped this so I could keep everything straight, but I think if I showed you from the top, it will make better sense. So what you want to do is create a book that will flip out, and your smallest spine section has to be on the inside on the left, and then the medium one will go on the right, and the largest one will be on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and tape the first 2 portions together, and I'm just using my double-sided adhesive tape. And because these are all square, it's easy to get them lined up. You definitely want these to be straight across so that your flip book will stay in the measurement on the outside. So here's the first one, and the third page that goes in is going to attach to the inside so that it will continue to flip when you open it. So right along here, if it helps to write it down on the inside, you're going to cover it with paper anyway, so you will be able to cover up your markings. So now you see that we have a book. It's 1 inch deep, and then it has 1 flip, 2 flips, and then 3. So let's cover this up now. I think it would be easiest to add the back cover and spine first. So now that I have this folded, it will be easy to tell which is the back portion. And I can add my pattern paper with my beautiful cardstock border. This collection is not a current collection, but that is kind of the appeal of having a good base, a book base design. You can swap it out and put any kind of pattern or theme that you like. So that's the back, and then this is going to be the spine on the left hand side. So I'm adding this. What I did was attach my pattern paper and the border to a piece, another piece of 110-pound cardstock. That's just going to be a whole another level of sturdiness for the spine. And it will give it a nice finished look when it's closed. So you can see that is there. Okay, let's do the inside first. I'll do a couple pages and then I'll just add in the other ones that I have prepared because it's so simple and you'll be able to get these done fairly quickly. So I've got my page all set, and then each of these pages is going to have a tip-in of some sort, whether it comes from the top or the side. And I have utilized all of the journal cards that came with this collection. So these are the 3x4 journal card images, and I think pretty much every collection has those now. And this is a really good way to be able to incorporate the whole image into your project because you're not going to have to cut into it to add it to your project. So I put it on both sides. That way when it flips, you're going to have a finished inside as well. And if you can use neutrals or something with lines, that really helps to add your journaling because it will be easier to write on that. So here's my page, and I have added my adhesive to the top of my tip-in. I'm just going to center this right where I want it and press that into place. So that will capture the tail of that tip-in between the paper and hold it securely. Now this one is going to go on the left-hand side. Remember, the book will be folded this way on your first flip. So you're going to just line that up right to left, and it will have that nice white border of the cardstock going all the way around. And you've got your first tip-in all set. So the next page that will show, these show together. So I'm going to make the page just the same, adding my journal cards to my tip-in. For the tip-ins, you can substitute 65-pound weight cardstock because it's going to not add as much bulk to the center of your book. So I'll just add it here like I did on the first one. I had a couple extra pieces to decorate this page. So as long as you're putting in layers that are flat, you're not going to create too much bulk that the book won't close. So I've just taken a couple of die cuts of these pattern papers, and I'm going to layer them here with a decorative edge. And this one is more of the blue. And then I cut this balloon shape out of the pattern paper. One of the sheets had quite a few of these on there, so I just picked my favorites and clipped them out. One way to make these look more like ephemera pieces rather than fussy cut is to leave that border around the edge. And this will finish off my page for the right hand side, and that just tucks in there, so it'll be a little secret picture spot. I think it will be easier to attach it if I sort of flatten my book out and work from the side, just making sure to get that border in. So now you can see these two pages will work together, and they both have a tip in, so you can open this up and start adding your pictures and journaling. So the next two pages are also going to show together, and I have prepared these already. They're going to be the same, but the tip-ins will come in from the side. Flatten it out again and add my page. And then this side, I picked a couple of extra layering bits as well so that I could improve upon our original design. I always think it's easier to get things lined up in the center when they're square. Okay, so let's flip this one open, and it will get a doily and another die cut circle of the coordinating pattern paper and another small balloon. This collection happened to have journal cards that were already lined, so I think that's perfect, and I added those to the back of my tip-ins so that I could finish the front with pictures and then have all the details added on the inside. So now we'll get to our last two pages. Okay, here's those last two pages, and I have added a pocket to these, so they're just not a very deep pocket. You'll only be able to put some flat mementos or keepsakes in there, but there's plenty of room in this mini, so you're going to have no trouble having all your pictures and journaling added. Here's the last page. You see these last few pages, their tip-ins are just going from the top again. Okay, so that is all for the inside. As you can imagine, it's starting to get very nice and bulky and heavy, just how you want your mini albums to be. And because we've added enough room on the sides to accommodate the bulk, it is going to hold a very good square shape. So the cover is next, and the thing you want to do before adding any pattern paper, if you're going to add a ribbon to close it, this is the time to get it put in because it will be sandwiched in between the paper layers. So put out what you think you need to tie a good generous bow. This is a satin ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon. It has a beautiful diamond pattern. I'm gonna tack this into place just temporarily with a little hot glue so that it won't shift around when I add my pages. Here I've got my first pattern with the beautiful cardstock border. I think maybe I want to put that down flat again because that seemed to make it easier to line up. This is a pretty smoky gray cardstock, and I used it for all of the pages throughout. Here is my doily, and because I have pre-arranged my flowers off project, I know that it's going to take up a fair bit of that corner, so I'm going to have to offset my doily if I want it to show and have enough room for my images, which are more of those balloons from the pattern paper. One has just tape, and I'm gonna put it a little bit higher so that I can create a nicely balanced arrangement. This one has the spacers from scrapbook adhesives. These are from Really Reasonable Ribbon, like the trim, and I like that you get just a little bit of dimension. It's not super bulky, and I'm gonna offset that one a little so that it kind of fills in a little more of the right hand side, and you can see a nice amount of the first balloon on the base. Here's those flowers again. Now this mostly comes from Made by Me flowers from pattern papers using stamens I get from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and then this flower in the center was a pre-made flower, and I did not like the center, so I swapped that out for more of those stamens. Instead of using green on this for my foliage, I just went ahead and cut from Golden Mirror cardstock. I thought that was a nice accent to the balloons, and I'm just going to add it here. It has just a very sharp corner arrangement because I want all of that foliage and flowers to be supported by the book. There's some loopy twine bows in there too. That really helps to fill in the arrangement and to soften up the corners of those leaves. I've got another bow here that's tied from the same diamond satin ribbon with a small vintage button, and then I happen to have a couple of hot air balloons in my stash of embellishments, so I'm going to add that right here to the top, and we'll just tie the bow on the other side, and that will close up this mini album flip book. If you have tried this pattern from my previous tutorial, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what collection you chose to work with, and if you altered the pattern in any way so that you could personalize it even more. So that's all for our mini flip book today, and if you enjoyed this project, make sure you give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. Links in the description for our previous tutorial and for really reasonable ribbon for the trims. I'm wishing everyone a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye!